to Mr. and Mrs. Yeah, welcome to our Facebook feed for today. I hope you can hear us loud and clear. Please do let us know where you're watching from. And if you can hear us, I would love to hear where you are watching us from. So, this is the program that we were supposed to do last week on Friday, but unfortunately, technology played the better of us. And so we didn't quite get it right, but hopefully today we will be able to get it right. So the question was, how do you inspire your spouse?
Mm-hmm. So, how do you get your spouse to be in a place where they feel or they get motivated or encouraged to do better than they currently are? It could be in their profession, it could be in whatever gifting, in whatever area that you feel like your spouse is gifted in. How do you encourage them to get to that place where they feel like, you know what, I got to do more, I better do better? Because, it's easy for people to get complacent, it's easy for people to get comfortable, but sometimes as the one who's looking from the outside, you can tell that, you know what, my spouse, this is not where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
They definitely should be doing better. So how do you get them to that place where you encourage them, or motivate them without actually sounding like you're talking down on them or you're looking down upon what they're currently doing? How do you say it? Especially if you are the wife, it can become quite tricky because you can sound like you're very nagging,
Yeah.
or it can sound like, you are the one who's sitting on a high horse and you think your husband should be doing a lot more than he's doing. So that's the conversation we want to have tonight. Let's help each other so that we can help our spouses,
Yeah.
in a better way.
Mm-hmm. And so to help us with that conversation, we are calling tonight Doctors Teach and Francisca Tanyanyiwa. They're also popularly known as Extreme Teach.
Extreme Teach.
And we've been friends with these guys for almost two years now,
Yeah.
right? And they're just an amazing team, amazing power couple that value marriage, that value the to learn and to invest in marriages. And so we've called them up because of what they've been able to accomplish and achieve as individuals, but also as a team. And so no better couple to be able to tell us about inspiring one another. And so we're going to call them up just now, and they will be here hopefully today. It'll be good. There we go. Hello and good evening.
Hey guys.
Hey, good evening.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to finally have you.
Yes.
Yeah, that demon that was harassing the networks is gone in Jesus' name.
For sure. So we don't want to waste too much time. You two have been able to accomplish so much as individuals, but also together as a husband and wife. And one of the things that you have done is you've done a movie, produced a movie, Married and Loving It. And we're so looking forward to that movie. You've written books, 15 books together so far. It would seem like you're a very old couple when we talk about some of the things that you've been able to accomplish, some of the things that you've been able to do together, but you're quite a young couple. How have you been able to do that? Let's get into the meat of our conversation for tonight.
It's interesting.
Maybe for starters, the question I can ask is there such a thing in marriage? You get married to somebody, you see them where they're at, and you're not happy with their status. Is there such a thing as that? Can you ever get to a place in marriage where you're not happy with where your spouse is?
Funny enough, interesting. Just as we got married, let me tell you, my husband was not even a computer fundi. Like literally Microsoft Word, Excel, just he wasn't even he was not friends with the computer.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like introduced him to the joy of a computer, but he is an expert. I have to ask him how to maneuver, how to get around. The programs the stuff that he does with the computer are amazing. I mean, literally, I can't even catch up. I actually have to.
So what was the conversation like when you had to draw this out of him, or when you had to encourage him to get interested in that? What sort of conversation did you have? Because like I said earlier, that sometimes it's more difficult for the wife to be the one that pushes or encourages, because then it sounds like I'm going into the office that is not mine. So how did you manage to navigate that?
Yeah.
I think for us it was that realization right from the beginning. We always joke and tell couples, your wife is not your enemy, your husband is not your enemy, because sometimes it's easy for couples to treat each other as if this woman really wants to destroy me. I came to the realization that if she wanted to kill me, it's so easy to just, when I'm sleeping there, after we've made love, I just fall asleep and I'm like totally out cold. I mean, she can do anything she wants with me at that moment. But I realize she's not an enemy. So when she speaks to me and she says, honey, I think you need to learn this or do this, I don't see that as something that has malicious intent or animosity, or that she's out to destroy me. But I think for us, realizing that we're a team and that we need each other has really, really always been quite helpful.
Well, the thing is, for
funny enough, you should mention that.
Sorry?
Because I was saying, funny enough, you should mention teamwork, because we spoke about teamwork last week, and these are some of the things that we were encouraging each other as couples to say, you are teammates.
Yeah. And I think we are friends. We're friends from the onstart. In fact, well, not that we're like long-standing friends. We're literally strangers when we got married. Like literally, I think we had been on dates not more than 10 times. And, our courtship period was less than a year. So really there was so it's not like we're coming from an long existing standing friendship, but when we kicked off as friends, we just became that. So I think even in relating at that point in terms of just working around a computer, it wasn't anything that I don't think even felt inferior. I don't think I felt like I was budging into a certain space. I think it was almost like when you begin to learn a certain program, or you discover certain news about something. Did you watch this? Have you seen this? And I think, well, that's how we just handled it. And the next thing is, a few years down the line, later I look back and I think, hang on, dude, didn't I introduce you really to computing? How is it that you've gone, not when steps and miles ahead. He's just gone to next generation ahead of me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's, it's similar with her. When you said 15 books is on my side. She's on 6 books.
7.
Wow.
She's just done her 7th book. Sorry.
Wow.
So it's 15 books and 7. So I remember the conversation we had when I started challenging her to say, you need to write a book. She said, oh, yes. Oh, but me, I'm not the writing type. What will I say? And then she wrote her first book.
The other day we're looking at it. Like literally, I wish we could have brought it in. It was like, it's not even a book.
It's a book. It's got 5 or 6 chapters. Brilliant book. The content.
Don't even say 5 or 6 chapters, love. It's a little mini thing like this. A miniature thing. If you look at on A4, it wasn't anything more than 6 pages, literally. So when you then compress it into a whatever, it then looks like a book, but 4 chapters, but literally that isn't even
I say it's a book,
assignment.
But here's my point. When she did that one, she discovered that, oh my goodness, I am a writer. And now she's on book number 7. Brilliant content, brilliant resources that she's developing. So she discovered the gift. She could have seen me as an enemy and thought, what's this guy on about, wanting me to write? Writing is your stuff. You're the man of God. Yeah.
I tell you, he was on my throat. I'll almost sometimes get quite upset because he just believed
so I was about to ask, how did it feel with him? Was it a pushy kind of a thing, or was it, when you eventually got around to doing it, was it let me just do it and get it over with? Or
I'll get so upset with him. I'd get upset with him a bit because I thought, what, this is your thing. It's not for me. Really, I really felt like it was bothering me. And it really, honestly, it was such a headache just to write this. Okay, my daughter has just found it for me. So here it is. I wish, I don't have faith life with me, do I? I don't have faith life with me. But anyway, so this was literally, such a minute, Actually, then I'll see if they'll find the other books. Faith is yours and now.
Wow.
But then Faith Life, I came to a point where I wrote where's Judeo? A 300-page book, like literally a volume. I'm like, how did I do that? You know,
Yeah.
even the last volume right now that I've just written. So the other day we were laughing, and it was really like, how did I get to do it? But I realized that it's possible now. So this was the first one, and now I'm on 7 books later. And I enjoy it.
But you see, that's exactly why this conversation is important. So thank you, Mr. and Mrs., for bringing this up, because next I'll be on your case for a book called Mr. and Mrs. But before we get to that one, here's the point. There are giftings in all couples. Their greatness is dependent on them being able to recognize that I am great, but I have blind spots. I've got things in my life that I cannot identify either as weaknesses, and sometimes your blind spots may actually be strengths that you're blind to, things that you cannot see. So we need each other. And it's that realization. I mean, there have been moments when my wife would correct me on something or encourage me about something, and I feel a bit irritated about it, and I'm thinking, but when I go and I'm sober and I'm by myself, I think through it and I suddenly realize, but she's right. So we have this interesting conversation about the what you call it, the Abraham conversation with God and the Adam conversation with God. God said to Adam, because you listened to your wife, you're in trouble. But he said to Abraham, listen to your wife. So every time I'm by myself and I've had one of those conversations with my wife, I hear the voice of God saying, listen to your wife.
Your wife.
So, but then where do you determine because you listen to your wife, what sets the difference apart? Because there's some ideas that your wife tells you to do or your husband pushes you into, and you know for a fact that, you know, this is not me. I can't do this. For the life of me, there's just nothing in me to be able to do this. So at what stage do you now know? How do you discern between the listen to your wife and the because you listen to your wife?
Okay. 90%, if not 99% of the time when your wife speaks and it's something that comes from God, it's coming as a confirmation. You are just procrastinating as the man. You're being slow. You're being lethargic. You've got excuses, etc. And when she comes, it's a prophetic voice. Abraham had already seen that things were not going too well here. And he knew he had to take a step to sort things out. But like most husbands, he was not being involved in the domestic warfare that was happening between his wife and the helper. So he took a position to withdraw. By the time she says, let's get rid of this woman, and he was distraught. He loved his son so much. He wanted to protect her. And, you know, as men, sometimes there are certain things in the home that we want to protect. And we're protecting them to the detriment of the vision of the home. So usually when your wife begins to speak, she's being prophetic. She's heard something. She sensed something. No wife who really loves you will come and suggest stuff that will destroy you as a family. Unless you really married some crazy woman and it's your fault that you married her. But if you're like me, you married a woman who is an asset. And when you learn to listen to her voice, you can discern that sometimes now it's her emotions that are speaking, or she's just frustrated in her speaking, but it's rare. 99% of the time when she comes and she says, honey, I think 1, 2, 3, there's wisdom in it. So you learn to listen to that voice. Is it against the scripture? No. Is it really moving us into an uncomfortable place? Yeah, sometimes. But is God stretching us? Because if it was not her voice, we would still have 1 spoon, 1 cup, 1 whatever, and our lives would have not moved forward. It's her voice that moved us to a place where we're expanding as a family.
Okay, so how do you handle a situation where your husband tells you that, you know, I think you need to be moving in this direction, and yet you are genuinely comfortable, you are okay with where you're at, you don't feel any agitation to make any changes, you're not dreaming of, you know, anything bigger than what you're actually doing, you feel comfortable in your space? What should you be doing? Should you just give in, or, you know, stick to your guns and say, hey, I am happy the way that I am?
I think it's a bit of you have to take strides into something. Well, it's funny that this whole topic, because there's just a lot of stuff that has been happening. Well, especially to me, in line with everything that you're talking about right now. The other day, my husband had to record me because I tell you, I had vowed and vowed. I said, I'm not a person to be in front of a camera. I shouldn't talk. I don't like it. It's not me. It's not my part. But you know what? For the life of me, every single time my husband pushed me onto that stage, and whether I liked it or not. So, and then the times when I would be really, really like, you know what? I am not going up that stage. And I tell him, don't you even dare call me. Don't you? So yes, here and there, twice, he would listen to me and realize that, oh, this woman, she's really threatened me not to make sure she says anything. But you know what? Can anything good come out of the lockdown? Now that I said, wow, I am called for the camera. I want to record. I want to speak. This is for me. I have the platform. And it's like, wow. Like,
for the record, I recorded that statement because I wanted to hold it against her later on to say.
So, yes, it was been very uncomfortable. I think it's been a long journey. So, in fact, you know what? A lot of the stuff that I did, in fact, honestly, up to the time of this lockdown, everything that I really did, I was on stage for two reasons. The first reason I took that microphone was because my husband said I must do it. And I had to submit.
Your husband, the dictator.
The second reason would be either, once in a while when I really feel like, I've got this word from the Lord, I've got this prophetic word, and then I feel all, ready and I think I can do it. But that's been, and though when I do it, there wasn't always this whole, but now it's like, you know what, just give me the stage. I am ready to do anything. I've been going in front of the camera and I'm like, hey, I can do this thing. Yeah. So I'm actually just ready to fly.
So say thank you.
So you're saying,
thank you, baby.
Not to be outdone, thank you, baby.
You got it.
So are you saying though that even though sometimes you may not be feeling like there's any need for you to make any changes, maybe if you try it out, you may find yourself actually enjoying it?
Well, all my testimony so far has been that. So though I didn't think I would enjoy it, it has all turned out more positive, because and I believe the same with him. There's stuff that I've seen in him. There's stuff that, even right now, finally, he's getting to release and do certain things that I've always believed in him, to say, you're made for this. You can do this. You can do that. So I guess it brings me back to right at the beginning where I think the both of us, or rather started with him, where his assignment was, I need to make you fly as high as you want. He said his assignment for me was to make sure that I can fly as high as I can. When I fly high, then he's accomplishing the assignment and the reason and the mandate why we are married together. So from then also, I've also taken that upon myself. I say, I actually live every day to do what I do to serve my husband, to make sure, and so right now there's projects that he started and the stuff that he needs to ensure are done by the end of this month. I've just I've taken on upon myself. I need to look at it holistically. I need to make sure I'm covering all ends. I'm doing this. I need to make sure that my greatest energy and support is going to go into the stuff that he's working in, to support him, to be there, to be an anchor, to balance. So, and also when I'm doing my projects, for instance, writing my books as well, he's really there to anything that I need done. He's like, how else can I help you? What can I do?
All the back massages.
Everything comes on.
Make sure that you
say that point again. You say like your assignment is to make sure what?
My assignment is to rise up every day to serve him, to serve his dream, to serve what he wants done. So, whether you're working together from doing this, what you call that? We work in the same space, sort of to speak. But let's say your husband is engineer somewhere and you're a nurse or what have you. As much as you wake up every day to go to the hospital and serve as a nurse, but your primary function must be to say, I need to ensure that I'm there to serve my husband in his assignment. So in his assignment as an engineer, you have an interest in terms of what is happening in your workspace, What projects do you have? So you have interest in checking. So how is that project going so far? Whether your husband is in business and you're the one who's a nurse, but because we've experienced sometimes couples where the wife doesn't even know of any of the business transactions. They don't know the contract or the deal that's in the pipeline. So as much as they're exerting their energy to go and work to serve in a hospital or wherever they're working for, but it doesn't exonerate them from the responsibility that the first person you're serving must be your husband in ensuring, so are you okay?
Yeah.
So when it comes back from work and you're asking, how was your day and how is this and that, you're literally giving all the full support that you need. And so, and for us during the day, it's only been, I think in the lockdown, there hasn't been many messages going back and forth. But otherwise, I would also just message, how's it going? We still do message each other during this time of lockdown on certain things, but there is that continual conversation. So how is this? And then I need this. Because there are times when we feel like, sometimes, talking certain things, there can be maybe sometimes some few atmospheres that are not so conducive and all, but we always find a way to relay it. And when we can't relate face to face, the message works best, love, how is this? And are you okay? Please, can I have help here? And love, I'm sorry about this and what have you. So, for me, my assignment really, I enjoy it when I have to serve my husband.
Right. But how do you serve an unservable spouse?
How do I?
How do you serve an unservable spouse?
Serve an unservable spouse.
Yes,
That's
the
difficult
person
spouse to
is.
serve.
Yes,
Yeah.
Well, I believe what?
Not a teamwork, teammate, what you call
Team player.
They're not a team player at all. And it seems like I'm the one that's putting in all the work. How do you serve that person? How do you also lay your life down to be able to bring the gold out of the person like that?
Sure.
There's no one who doesn't want to be loved. Their arrogance and not wanting to be loved and being so difficult. It's something obviously it's walls that they've put up due to one reason or the other. And I like what the Word of God says, how the believing spouse by your conduct will bring about your spouse to that place of believing. So you who has the spouse who's so stubborn and not wanting to be served well, you need to have that inner strength and stamina in you to understand that here I am serving is it a donkey that's so stubborn? I'm serving something that doesn't want to move, but in all its not wanting to move, there is one area, one way or the other, where someone, somebody still wants to eat. They still want to have this or that or whatever. You find that one thing, though it may come back like you've been stabbed in the back, but you need to know that even though I am doing this, I will get stabbed. But guess what? In my mind, I've already overcome that. And so that's and when you go onto your knees to pray and cry, you can cry to God that I'm doing all this, but continue to be strengthened with might in the inner man. And that day of reckoning and that breakthrough will come. There are people that have come back with testimonies where I know my husband will never do this, or my wife is like this and like that. Find that one spot, that one thing that would be a place of weakness where you would continuously show constant love and service. Because what happens is when we get hurt, we draw back from serving, we draw back from loving, and guess what? That's the first thing they'll actually notice when you draw back. So it means they are noticing all the time. Keep it and make it so consistent that they will totally give in at some point.
Right.
But
so how do you? Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
I wanted to say there will be situations that you'd almost think it's beyond redemption. It's beyond help. Either because the husband is just totally stubborn. In 1 Samuel chapter 25, we're introduced to a story of a man called Nabal. Nabal was married to a woman whose name was Abigail. Abigail means gracious, beautiful, favored, favorable, but Nabal means fool. He was an utter fool. And because of his foolishness, he died. And there will be cases where sometimes you're married to a man. I mean, there are cases that we know. We do a lot of marriage ministry through Married and Loving It, one of our businesses, and we minister to lots of couples right across the world on Skype, personally, physically in the room. But one of the things that we've learned is there are some people, particularly the men, who have a certain arrogance and pride. It's pride, it's a spirit of pride, where you just literally will not allow your wife into that space where she can function as your wife. If you're married to a woman who you cannot trust in terms of in divulging your financial position, your income, your vision, your goals, then you're already on the wrong footing. And there are men like that. And if you're a woman and you're married to a man like that, perhaps praying and hoping that one day he'll have an encounter with God that breaks down that spirit of pride, that makes him open up to you. That may be maybe the one way. But having conversations to say, honey, you're not allowing me into the space where I can function as your wife. As your wife, I'm your helper. In other words, I'm supposed to enhance you, enhance your vision, enhance your capacity. If you don't have that conversation, he may never change. I mean, Nabal resisted. The woman helped him. She did something when David was about to kill Nabal because of his foolishness. She went and gave him some food and an offering, and David did not kill him. She literally saved his life, but his stubbornness could not see. The Bible says he was a churlish man, stubborn and wicked. He didn't see the wisdom in her actions, and eventually he had a heart attack because of his foolishness. There are men that really need to come to a place. This conversation is so important. This discussion right now, there are many families that need to have this conversation.
But how do you come to a place where people have different personalities? So I'm sure in marriages you'll find one who's more driven, one who's more of the go-getter, one who's more of, I've got to do this, I've got to, constantly be improving myself. How do you balance that with not imposing your character or your personality onto your spouse? Because your spouse may not be that way. They may be happy with, I've attained this, but now I think I'm good. And you may want to still keep going and keep running. How do you maintain that balance between, wanting your spouse to, grow and develop, and actually realizing that, hey, we have two different personalities here?
One of the things, that's a very valid point right there. One of the things that we do in our marriage ministry is we now insist that the couples we're working on, whether those that are about to get married or those that are married and we're working with, we insist that they do personality assessments. And the assessment gives them a 45-page report of who they are and their personality, their proclivities, their behaviors, their emotional intelligence levels, etc. So now you have a scientific document that is telling you that my wife is a red, she is a high D, I'm a high yellow, and she is very driven. And so when she communicates stuff to me, it does come on as if it is strong. Okay. She said it herself. I wasn't going to say it, but she said it.
You free man of God.
Okay. So she comes on as very strong and very pushy. At the initial point, it was difficult to understand. And that's where I had that understanding that, oh, she's not an enemy. She wants to enhance. So she comes on strong. I'm more on the gentle side and a little bit on the lighter side in terms of how I communicate. So that began to help us to understand that your personality is involved. But what happens is when you do the assessment, Socrates, the philosopher, said, know thyself. When you know yourself, you know how to manage your pushiness. You know how to manage your softness. You know how to manage your pedantic focus on detail that can be a drag to your spouse. So now you begin to adjust your communication style in order to be more accommodating, because people never do stuff because of your motivation. People always do stuff for their motivation. So now you learn that, okay, if I'm going to get her to do stuff, I've got to go beyond, I'm the one who wants you to write books, to begin to help her see why she wants to write books. When she then So now when she does it, she's no longer doing it because I said write a book. She's doing it because she sees the sense of what I'm saying. So if I manage my personality and bring it under control, my communication style becomes more structured and more effective.
So good. How different is that though from what we've grown up to hear? That for instance, you have husbands that just won't do something just because their wife suggested it to them. Just for that reason alone, they won't do it, no matter how valid and no matter how much it makes sense. So how is that different from a manipulative kind of a way of suggesting something in a way that makes me feel? So Ivy suggesting something in a way that makes me feel that I'm the one that thought about it. Is that the sort of vibe that you're talking about? That she suggests it and she makes it look like I'm the one that thought of it, and so the motivation is coming from me and not from her.
Okay, go ahead.
I think because generally it's you're talking about how a husband will not do it simply because the wife said it. So in my case, there's certain things that even as much as a man of God he is, and you just can't come up suggesting everything and saying this. As much as we know everything, but you know what? We've got to give them a bit of
we don't need Google. We just need the wife.
We have to give them a bit of credit, because I think when God then said, and God made Adam a helper suitable for him. Clearly, yes. God just said, you know what? I think what I've created here, it just needs this person called Eve, a woman that can just make sure everything.
I like that.
But what I'm trying to put across here is that, yes, there are times when I've even seen that, I don't have room to actually say this and suggest this because I know it will probably come out as, but why are you saying it and all that. There's just various ways to get around it. You just, in fact, the one time, it's almost a year ago, because I remember Facebook reminding me saying, a year ago this happened. We're having a conversation in our bedroom. I can't remember what it was. And our eldest daughter was there. And, and she said something so profound, because probably, when your daughter hears you and they hear your conversations all the time and certain things that you say. And she says, Mom, you know what? You need to understand and practice the principle of pick and drop. And I said, what do you mean pick and drop? She says, you need to understand when to pick up a matter and when to drop it. In fact, she then gave an example. She says, for instance, when dad has just finished preaching.
This is a 15-year-old at that time when she was saying this.
Yeah, it says when dad has just finished preaching, there's certain things that I've seen. Asa will run to dad and say, I want this or whatever. And he gets an abrupt answer there because sometimes it's the wrong time to go and approach and say certain things. So she says, Mom, you need to know, when to pick and drop. You need to have the understanding. So the principle is pick and drop. Know when to pick up that matter and exactly when to drop it on their laps. So that is why Samson could get his hair cut, because Delilah came to a point of understanding.
Now you know why I've got no hair.
when is the pick and drop? So as long as you understand it, because my pick and drop moments for him are different from the pick and drop moments for your husband and for somebody else's husband. Because you know your own person. So make sure you don't pick and drop at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And that's why I always, and from shame, I feel sorry for my husband sometimes, because I realize and I said to myself, you can literally have your husband wrapped around your little finger here. Yeah. Because generally, sometimes, when you know that your husband just, probably for my husband, probably weakest point or whatever is, my husband loves to be loved. He loves his sex. He does love it. So you know what? I actually know.
She knows me.
I know that 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 I know. If I need anything, if I really just decide, to be the superwoman, Wonder Woman in bed every day, every single day, I can. You
can have half my kingdom.
But fortunately, I tell myself I'm a woman of God, so I will not. So I said, fortunately, I'm a woman of God, so I actually don't deliberately manipulate certain things. But just my relationship with my husband, I've noticed I can literally, there's certain, almost kind of like when I've identified his weakest points, I know where I can probably manipulate and have anything. But the thing is, will I do what I'm doing for selfish reasons, or do I want to do so? And the truth is, for the records, I've never done anything or tried to get intimacy with him just to prove to want something. Because thank God I don't have to do that to want something. Thank God.
Not that I mind.
Of course,
But-
and I wouldn't mind either. Putting it out there, just
So, ladies out there, you need to know when to pick and drop. Do it at the right time. You know your own husband. You know exactly when is the right time. But at the same time, don't then be manipulative, because the truth is, I believe men have this one soft spot and the weak spot where at the end of the day, like you said with Samson and Delilah, doesn't matter how an Armstrong a man is, there is that the lapse of Delilah will do anything. Why do you think some of these men go out to look for the lapse outside?
Oh. All right. So, but what is the difference between motivating your spouse so that they improve, and motivating them because you want them to change? So, what is the difference between motivation and actually wanting to change a person? Because your spouse maybe is not seeing the things that you are seeing, and maybe it's simply because I just want him to change. I want to change Simba. So I say, you know what, I feel you should be studying this and that. I feel you should be doing this simply because I want to change him, not because necessarily I want to build him up or motivate him.
Okay, good question. And the best way to illustrate that one is if, let's say, my wife was a size 42, she's a 32, but if she was a 42 and I wanted her to lose 10 kgs and she didn't want to lose them, and I come and I say, let's go to the gym. You're going to the gym. I'm paying for the gym for you. That's wrong, because I'm not motivating her. But if she comes and she says, honey, I want to lose 10 kgs. Please help me. And then I say, okay, let's do the gym thing. Let's do the fitness thing. Let's do the eating healthy thing. What am I doing? I'm now motivating her. I'm now using her desires, her goals, her ambitions, and giving her the fuel to make it a reality. Manipulation is when it's for me. Motivation is when it's for her.
All right.
That's so good.
Right.
I think that just really puts it very clear, makes it clear that manipulation is for me, it's selfish driven. And motivation is for your spouse, is for her to be brought up and to improve.
And also to realize that, we have no assignment or mandate to change our spouses. You can't say, I think you should actually study accounting and further a course, So, I think that's why the motivation must be celebrate what they're good at, and begin to celebrate that, because the more you celebrate it, the more they'll get motivated to even probably think and desire to go to the next level. And and allow your spouse to perform at peak, to do their best in what they actually love and enjoy doing, And so, because sometimes you can have families come in and think, no, but maybe you should, especially backgrounds where because they think, especially when the wife comes out to feel like she's more educated and she's doing greater things. When we had a couple that we thoroughly love so much, the wife is a medical doctor. The husband is a, what do you call it? A hairstylist, hairdresser. That's correct.
Okay.
A hairdresser. But the love that these two share, we counsel them into marriage. They're still very, very happily married.
Wow.
I look and I think the family was just so great, because honestly, sometimes even in the natural, as a pastor yourself, you look and you think, how does this medical doctor, this guy was doing rent a chair.
Wow.
So not only that he owns a saloon, but was rent a chair. But these two were in love. They knew each other. They understood each other. But guess what? The man that he is today, you cannot even think of. You can't even recollect where they came from together. But so she was not under pressure to think, I now need to prove to my medical field colleagues that whatever, or try to cover up. He loved him as he is, celebrated him as he is, And now they are doing so well together. He is doing so well. So it's not about, because sometimes we think career choices, because my husband is doing this or my wife is doing this, and it's a less of a whatever, have a better qualification. If we talk of qualifications, we have testimonies and things that we can talk about in terms of, it's not so much about, how qualified one is.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so good. We could actually go through this. We could do this the whole night because there's just so much that you guys have. But what we'll do is we'll definitely be calling you back again, because I think these conversations are so important. We spoke about teamwork a couple of sessions ago, and this is teamwork practical, the real practical side of teamwork, of motivating each other and not manipulating each other. So we're gonna have to say, you know what? I think we're good for today. For now, for this next hour. Thank you so much. Any last remarks concerning this topic?
Well, I just want to say to the couples, if you really take time to listen to each other and invest in that teamwork element and being able to inspire one another, you will unleash and release the greatness that God has placed on the inside of you. You will never be as great alone as you will be together.
Wow.
And I think this teamwork and motivating one another is all about serving one another. Serve one another with a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a massage, foot massage, back rub, whatever it may be. Just do that.
So it's serving one another, not one way, right? Because I think it's easier for the women, or it's, culturally, or however we may want to put it, but I think it has been received more that it's the wife that does the serving. So I like that you said one another.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love to serve her. I enjoy serving her. It keeps her from getting too tired for other things.
Other things.
I love the strategy. I love that strategy. That's one day. And I think on that big bombshell, we're going to close off the show for tonight, so that my wife is fresh and
so that I can get a cup of tea,
and so that she's not tired for other things.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. It's been awesome.
Awesome. We love you guys.
This has been really good. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, we are done with Pastors Tisha and Francisca. This was an absolutely amazing conversation, and I enjoyed it. We learned a lot, and I think for me, my biggest takeaway really is the fact that motivation is for your spouse, is for bringing things out of her or out of him, whereas manipulation is selfish. So whenever you find yourself in a place where you are doing something, you're asking your wife or your husband to change a part of themselves just for yourself, just for you, then you're manipulating, But when you're getting them to, when it's about them, when it's for them, when it's for their good, for their benefit, it's motivation.
You took that right out of me. I was going to say that, but yeah.
But I'm sure you can keep one thing
no, but what I liked was, when they were talking about, motivating each other and, serving one another. I really liked the fact that it's serving one another, because you find most of the times in a marriage, the serving is coming from one direction and it can become exhausting. Yeah. So it's serving one another. It's drawing from each other. It's, motivating and encouraging each other. So it's one another. It's not one way. It's both of you, so that both of you can, advance the team better.
So we're good for today. Thank you so much again to our wonderful guests. They have been amazing. So you can find them. Go on Facebook and search for Extreme Teach. On their profile and their page, they'll be able to give you some links to their website and to all the different things that they're doing. They've got the books. They also even have online books, which they can definitely give you links to. You can download some of the books that they've written, which are online. Some amazing resources that they have. So look for Extreme Teach in fact, Pastor Extreme Teach, right? Look for Pastor Extreme Teach. I'm going to ask them also to maybe put a link of their website on the comment section. I know they're still watching and still listening, so that you can just go on their website direct and get the resources that they have on offer. Yeah.
Right. So thank you very much once again for joining us tonight. And we're going to leave you for now. Just remember to keep on loving.
Absolutely. Keep on loving. So that's their website there. You can go ahead and go to their website. You'll find a whole lot of resources that will be available for you there, for your use, for marriage, for business, for ministry, for a whole lot of other things. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We should be back here again
on Wednesday
night, same time, with another Mr. and Mrs. conversation. And so please stay in touch with us and do not log in on Wednesday. All right. So this is Mr. and Mrs. and we gotta go. And remember,
keep on loving.
Keep on loving.